Okay, so we've seen all of our operations with whole numbers and now with integers. Let's take a look at the next step, which is something like this. When you look at a problem like this, there are a lot of different ways you might be tempted to interpret it. Somebody might look at this and say, hey, you know what? We read from left to right. I'm going to do my math from left to right. And they might do this. They'll do 7 plus 3 is 10. Don't write this down, by the way, because it's totally wrong. 10 times 8 is 80, minus 4 is 76. That makes perfect sense, but it's not the correct answer. Others might look at it and say, hey, let's add and subtract first. Do 7 plus 3 is 10, and 8 minus 4 is 4, and then multiply. Guess what? Still wrong. So how do we do it right? Well, to make sure that people look at a problem like this and do it the same way, in math, they've defined a set of rules called the order of operations. Now, a lot of people have a misconception of the order of operations as being a set of steps. And that's not really what they are. What they really are levels of priority. If there were steps, you would go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and down the steps. That's not the case here. If one of these things that has a higher priority is there, it has to happen first. But it doesn't mean you can't go back up and down the list. So the highest level of priority, the first level of priority, is something called enclosing symbols. Most of us have heard this referred to as parentheses, and that is one type of enclosing symbol. But before we are done tonight, we are going to see others. Next, we just talked about these. Exponents, the second level of priority. The next highest level of priority is exponents. And we said that includes powers and radicals, or roots. We don't really know what a root is yet, so we're not going to do a lot of those apparently. Third level of priority would be multiplication and division. That looks like it says mut in division. There. Number 4, the lowest priority is addition and subtraction. So going back up to this problem here. Going through our levels of priority. Do we have any enclosing symbols? No. Any exponents? No. Multiplication or division? Yes, we do, right here. So what we do is we take the two numbers involved in that operation, we combine them with that operation, and we replace them. 3 times 8 is 24. Everything else in this problem stays exactly the same. We just take out the 3 times 8 and replace it with a 24. Now, technically, we should go back down through the level of priorities again. Still no enclosing symbols. Still no exponents. Multiplication and division? Nope, all done. Addition and subtraction is all that's left. There's one of each. Now, addition and subtraction are on the same level of priority. So how do we know which one to do first? That is where we go left to right. Just like reading a book. So we're going to do the 7 plus 24 first, because that's on the left. What is that? 31. Then we still have the minus 4, which will be 27. Perfect. Let's look at one a little bit more involved. This one here has a few things in it. So we go through our levels of priority. Are there any enclosing symbols? Yes. Now, enclosing symbols are a little different than any of our other levels of priority, because what our enclosing symbols do is they separate part of the problem from the rest. And we look at that part that's been separated, and we focus on it first, and we start all over. So we have the parentheses. We're going to focus inside the parentheses. So I'm going to put the blue box there, so we're going to focus inside the blue box. But our levels of priority still apply. So inside that blue box, are there any other enclosing symbols? No, there are not. Exponents. You bet, right here. 3 to the power of 2, or 3 squared, which is 9. So everything else stays the same. 3 squared is replaced with 9. Still working inside the parentheses, any other exponents? No. Multiplication or division? There is division. 18 divided by 6. 3. We replace that with a 3. The rest of the problem does not change. Still in the parentheses. Any more multiplication or division? No. Addition or subtraction? We got one of each. Which one do we do first? Left to right. 6 minus 3, which is 3. So we replace that with a 3. Everything else is the same. What's next? 3 plus 9 is all that's left, which makes 12. Okay, now, once we've reduced what's inside an enclosing symbol to a single number, it's time to eliminate the enclosing symbol. Now, in this case, the enclosing symbol is just parentheses. We just get rid of the parentheses. With one little hitch. There's 5 here. Yeah, whenever we have a number outside an enclosing symbol with no operations, we have to assume it is multiplication, times. So when we take out that parentheses, we have to put in that multiplication symbol. Otherwise, it can be really confusing. Now the parentheses are gone. They've been taken care of. We go back to the bigger problem. Any other enclosing symbols? No. Exponents? No. Multiplication and division? Oh, yeah. Multiplication. 5 times 12 makes 60. Everything else stays the same. And then, left to right, 8 plus 60, 68 minus 7, 61. Loads of fun, right? Give me a dozen more. Yeah, we'll settle for that. That'll work. Just a little bit more difficult. No comment. Okay. Okay, so this looks like a monster. It does look, I admit it looks ugly. But as long as we follow our steps, our levels of priority, it's not that bad. First level of priority, of course, is enclosing symbols. We have a few of them here. How do we decide which one to do first? Left to right, exactly. Going left to right, here's our first one. We have to find its other end. Where is it? After the 3. So we have to start inside the blue box. Well, some of you are going, but we got to go inside there. Yeah. Order of operations still applies here. So inside the blue box, are there any other enclosing symbols? Yeah. Yes, there is, right there. So now we're going to narrow our focus even further inside the red box. In there, any other enclosing symbols? No. Well, kind of. The square root can be an enclosing symbol, but in this case it's not. You know why it's not an enclosing symbol? There's only one number inside it. I'll show you examples later where there are more than one number inside. Then it is an enclosing symbol. But anyway, no enclosing symbols. Exponents? Yes, the square root of 25 is a form of an exponent. Now, we haven't really covered square roots yet, but can anybody tell me what the square root of 25 is? It is 5. Now, the rest of the problem stays the same, and yes, I'm going to spend about 2 hours tonight rewriting problems at this rate. I wanted to rewrite the problem once at least, so I had a second copy of it, but from now on, I'm going to do a little shortcut. Those in your notes, if you're having problems, let me know and I'll slow down for you, because I realize you can't erase as easily in your notes as I can, but at this point, what's next? 7 minus 5, which is 2. What I found in these is most of the mistakes people make is in rewriting the rest of the problem, not in doing the calculation. So rather than having to rewrite the rest of the problem, I'm just going to take the 7 minus 5 and I'm going to erase it. I'm going to replace it with a 2. Now in your notes, I realize that's tricky because if you erase it and replace it, well then how do you go back and see what the steps were? Well, remember classes are recorded, so you can go back and look at the recording later if you want to. Now that 2 is done, what can we say about that parentheses? We can get rid of it because it's down to one number. When we get rid of it, we have to remember to put in multiplication in front of it. Very good. Now what? Well, now that one's gone, we go back out to the larger set of parentheses. Any other enclosing symbols in there? No. Exponents? Yes, there is, right here. 3 squared, which is 9. So we take it out. We'll replace it with a 9. Any other exponents? No. Multiplication and division? Yes, there is. There's more than one, so we go left to right. 5 times 9 is 45. Next. 2 times 2, 4. Any other multiplication and division? No. So we will go down next level priority, addition and subtraction, left to right. 45 minus 4, 41. 41 plus 3, 44. And then, I get rid of the parentheses. Remembering to put a multiplication. Can I multiply the 3 times 44 now? No, why not? Yep. So we got this thing hiding down here. I'm going to rewrite this just to bring it together a little bit. That becomes 7. Very good. And of course we can get rid of those parentheses now because it's to a single number. Remembering to put in multiplication. Now what? Well, not left, right. We're down to multiplication. 3 times 44 is 132. 6 times 7 is 42. Then, left to right now. 6 plus 132 is 138. 138 minus 42 is 96. Are we having fun yet? Yeah? There's that faked enthusiasm at least, huh? You made me feel better. That's all that counts. Now, I'm going to point this out. I hesitate because I don't want to draw your attention to it, but I have to. The most common mistake I will catch you making on this one, and there will be a problem not this ugly, but maybe similar to this one up here on the test. The common mistake I will see a lot of people make, I'll catch close to half of you on this on the test, Oh, look, 8 plus 5 is up front. That's really easy. Let's just make that 13. What's wrong with that? You're not following the order of operations. This 5 has 2 operations on it right now. There's addition here, but what's over here? Multiplication. Which one has to happen first? Multiplication. So that 5 has to multiply on this side before it can add on that side. So that 8 cannot add to the 5 until the 5 has done whatever it needs to with the multiplication. Well, let's look at a different type of problem.
Is that open book test?
Yes. Your tests are all open book, open notes.
Oh, yay.
And your quizzes, of course, are all online, so you're at home. I can't see what you're doing. That doesn't mean you can cheat, but you can use your notes and your books, obviously. I don't know if I like that giggle. I thought my laugh was evil. Sorry. Anyway. Oh, what do I want to do here?
Next month, he's going to do the whole.
Boy, that's faith. Wow, I'm a little hurt.
Suck it up, Buttercup. I know, now he's going to push go.
Get it now, thanks. High school.
Now we'll settle for this one, I guess. When we look at a problem like this, first thing we have to figure out is what does this thing across here mean? Okay, division is what most people go for. It actually does. It's called a fraction bar, and it does mean divide, but it has another meaning. It is another form of enclosing symbol. It separates the top of the problem from the bottom. So what it's telling us is that we need to do everything on top, then we have to do everything on bottom, then we can divide. If you're entering this in your calculator, by the way, does differential order of operations. So if you enter it correctly, it will do it correctly. You can take, especially these linear ones like this, by linear I mean they're all in one line, you can actually enter it just like that in your calculator. You may have to, depending on your calculator, put in multiplication here in front of the parentheses, but you can enter that in your calculator and it should be able to do the order of operations for you. That'll be something, if you want to, you can go back and look at this later and try to punch it in your calculator to see if you can make it work. This one, however, can't be entered. Well, it can be entered, but it doesn't enter in easily as just a single straight line. So if you were doing one like this on the calculator, I would suggest you do just what we said. Do everything on top first, get an answer. Do everything on bottom, and then divide it. When we're doing it by hand, that's how we have to do it. So let's do the top here. 7 times 6 minus the square root of 36. What has to be done first there? Square root of 36, which is 6. Good. What has to happen next? 7 times 6 is 42. And then minus 6 is 36. So the top of this comes out to be 36. On bottom now, what do we have to do first? Well, we see parentheses. Do we have to do the parentheses first? We got to check them out. But is there anything to do in the parentheses? No. Here, the parentheses are not an enclosing symbol. All they are doing is isolating the negative 9 so you know that that's a negative 9 and not subtracting 9. So parentheses don't always serve as an enclosing symbol. So there are actually no enclosing symbols on the bottom. Exponents? No. Multiplication or division? Yeah, a couple multiplications and divisions. Which one are we going to do first? 32 divided by 8, which is 4. Next. Negative 9 divided by 3 is Negative 3. Now again, I'm putting that in parentheses so we don't confuse that with subtraction. It is a negative 3. And then 11 minus 4 is 7. Plus a negative 3. 7, negative 3 would be 4. Are we done? Really close to it. What do we have to do? 36 by 4 is 9. Very good. Any questions? That's times 4. I'm going to let you try that one on your own for a second. See what you come up with, then we'll talk about it in a minute. Ready to give it a shot? Not yet? A couple more minutes? Okay. We'll give you a couple more minutes. Okay, let's follow this road and see where it takes us. This is actually two separate problems. This problem here, find an answer, this problem, and then we just add them together. So let's focus on the left side here first. What are we going to do first there? We have to do the top. Now I'm going to cheat just a little bit for the sake of space here. What do we do first on top? Divide. 54 divided by 90, divided by 6 is 9. So I'm just going to replace that with a 9. What's next? 2 times 4, which is 8. Then we subtract to get 1. So there's a 1 on top. What do you do next on bottom? 8 squared, which is 64. And then 7 times 9 is 63. Subtract to get 1. So we got 1 over 1. We can go ahead and divide. What's 1 divided by 1? 1. There we go. Over here, what do we do first on top? Exponent. 3 squared, which is 9. What's next? 3 times 8 is 24. And then 2 times 9 is 18. And subtract to get 6. Down here. Square root of 36 is 6. Now the 2 is right in front of it. What does that mean? It's multiplied. Good. What's next? 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract 3. 6 divided by 3? 2. 1 plus 2? 3. All that work for a 3. How are we doing so far? Anybody have that one right? A few? Cool. Hey, more than I thought. Good deal. Anybody have no idea how we got there? You lost? Where'd I lose you?
I'm lost
At the beginning? Okay. We'll work back through some with you. Okay, one more example I want to show you, then I want to talk a little bit about MyMathLab since you're going to start your first homework tonight. Okay? Looking at this one, are there any enclosing symbols?
No.
Yes. With this, in this case, since there's more than one thing inside the square root, that is an enclosing symbol. So we have to do everything inside there first. Inside there, are there any other enclosing symbols? No. Exponents? Yes, we have the 9 squared, which is going to become 81. Then what? There's 7 times 14, which is 98. And then 81 or 98 minus 81, which is 17, minus 1, which is 16. Now, just like any other enclosing symbol, once I get it reduced to a single number, I don't need the enclosing symbol anymore. The difference is when it's a square root, when I get rid of the enclosing symbol, there's actually something I have to do. What is the square root of 16? 4. So I don't need the square root anymore. I just replace it with 4. Remembering that I have to put in multiplication there. Good. Now it's pretty simple from here. What do you do? 5 times 4 is 20. 7 plus 20 is 27. Okay. I think that's enough new material for one night. I do want to go over briefly some things in MyMathLab. First of all, is there anybody that has not managed to log into MyMathLab yet? A few of you. Okay. Just got your book today. The first homework is assigned today. It is due at the beginning of class next Tuesday. So make sure you try to log in soon. So if there are any issues, we can get them fixed before your homework is due. So we go to MyMathLab here. Once you've registered, of course, you can just sign in. And here we go. Pre-algebra. That I just slowing me down. Okay. So once we're in here, you'll find your homework. Again, this calendar here will announce that you have assignments due, but they've done some fixes to it. I don't know if it works better now or not, but I know in the past there have been issues if you click on your assignments from here. So it's best to play it safe and just click on homework over here, and that'll take you to your homework assignments. Next Tuesday, our first quiz will be assigned. You'll find that under quizzes and tests. We don't need that for now. There's just going to be one homework. So you can see here, all the homework for the semester is listed. Homework 1 says right there, due August 25th, which is Tuesday. 6 p.m., so technically I put it so it's a half an hour after the end of class, so that if you have to ask questions in class, you still have a little bit of time to finish it up after class if you need to. The homework, by the way, will not cut you off. It'll let you keep working. It's just if you keep working past 6 p.m., it'll take away half your points. So you click on homework assignment 1, and it'll give you, here's a list of questions. This is kind of a long one because of the basic topics. You can click on any one of those questions to start. Probably makes most sense to start with question 1. It'll bring you here, which is your first question. Now up on top you see the numbers listed. I can click on any of those numbers and it'll take me to that question. Of course it's only numbered 1 through 10, so I hit the arrow to go to the next set of questions. What's that? If I hit this little one, it'll just advance me 1 question. This one will advance me to the next set of 10. Next question, yep. Or you can hit down here. It also is not a bad idea to hit save every now and then in case something happens to your computer connection. So like here, round to the nearest 100, so that's going to be... Now it'll tell you, the nice thing on the homework is that after each answer, you can hit check answer and it'll tell you, yeah, you did it right. So I'll save it. Oops. That was question 10, not question 1, but that's okay. So let's go back in. Choose the correct answer. Check answer. Oops. You'll say sorry, and I'll give you a little bit of an explanation. I did it wrong. Choose what is the digit in the 3 is in the thousands place. Of course, check my answer. There it is. Let's go to something a little more difficult here. Yes, I want to leave. So let's say I do a problem like this. I know the answer is 91, but let's say I put in 81. It's wrong. It'll give me a little bit of an explanation here. What if I have no idea how to do this? Well, MyMathLab has a couple of things we can do. First of all, I can click on textbook. It'll take me to the section of the textbook that describes this. I'm not going to wait for it to load, though. Sometimes it has video over here. This one doesn't, but I'll find an example that does. Let's go. Yeah, I want to move. Ooh, this one had a video. This one, I can go to the textbook, or I can watch a video. It'll show me a video where it'll explain do an example similar to the problem. If I still don't know how to do it, I can click View an Example. It'll show me a similar problem that's like it. I just hit Continue, and it'll step me through step by step how to solve it. And there it is. So I close it. Now I can try it. If I'm still stumped, it'll say, help me solve this. It'll actually walk me through this exact problem. And now I have to put in information for myself. That takes me to the next step. And I have to check my answer at each step. And now we're done. Oops. Helps if I pay attention. So now our answer is correct. I close out. Notice these numbers changed. It helped me solve the question that was there, but as soon as I'm done, it changes the question, so now I have to answer one that's similar to it with different numbers. If you are really, really stumped, have no clue how to do it, it's bothering me to have that out there wrong. Sorry. I'm uptight. If I have no clue how to do it, ask my instructor. I click that, and it'll bring up this. It gives you a spot where you can put in whatever your problem is. Maybe you know the answer, but you can't figure out how to enter it to make it work or something like that. You can just type it in there, and it'll send an email to me. Now, the reason this is better than just going to the regular WITC email and sending me a message there is this will actually send me a copy of the question. It freezes the question. Because if you just send me an email saying I have a question on number 30 or 21 or whatever, these are randomized questions. You notice the number's already changed on this one once. If you just send me and say I got a question on number 21, I'll go to number 21 and I'll have a different question 21 than you will. So doing me this, it'll send me your question so I can answer your specific question. Any questions?
So how does the grading work when you get it wrong?
You have 3 attempts. Let's look at this one. Let's say I go 3, oops, wrong. Try again. 6, oops, it's wrong. Try again. Let's go 9, and I'm still wrong. It cuts me off after 3 attempts. But you'll notice down here it says similar exercise. If I click that, it'll give me a new problem. Come on, respond. Something's going wrong with my internet connection all of a sudden. If I click on that, I don't know why it's not responding right now. If I click on that, it'll actually give me a new question. My computer just froze up for some reason. Oh, that's why. But anyway, it'll give me a new problem. It'll give me the same problem with different numbers, and it'll give me 3 more attempts. So each question, you have 6 attempts. Now, on the homework, you're graded for completeness. You did everything. You tried every question. Now, that doesn't mean you can go 5 minutes before class and just put in random answers and get them all wrong, and you got every question answered. The system in my grade book, when I look at it, it also tells me how long you spent on the assignment. So if I look at the assignment and you answered 59 questions in 47 seconds, I'll know you didn't put any, didn't put any effort into it. Now on the quizzes, however, if I could get out of here and actually go to a quiz, but it won't let me. On the quizzes, none of these helps over here will be there. you have one, you have to answer the quiz, you do all the questions, and at the end you hit submit. It doesn't tell you whether you're right or wrong until you've done the whole quiz and submit it. Now on the quizzes you do get 2 attempts, but not 2 attempts per question, it's 2 attempts on the whole quiz. So you do the whole quiz, you submit it. If you don't like your grade, you can look back through it and review what you got wrong, and then you can try the whole quiz over again. The system forces me to put in a time, so I think I put it in as like 2 hours is your time limit. Any other questions? What's that? I think my shortest quiz is like 4 questions, and my longest quiz is like 30. Yes, the best of 2 attempts. Yes? The quiz? Yeah, the quiz will, here, now that it'll let me back in here. You can see right now there won't be any quizzes out here at all. Boy, the system's slow. But yeah, Tuesday I think at 4 o'clock, so it does actually open it up during class. So as soon as class is over, you should be able to start the quiz. And normally I will try to give you 15 or 20 minutes at the end of class so you can start on the homework, or you can do the quiz if you want to. After each class, from here on out, next week there will be a quiz due right, before the end of the day Wednesday after class. Then there'll be a new homework due for Thursday. So usually it's best if you work on the quizzes. I have a computer lab reserved here in Rice Lake. For the next couple weeks, it'll be 3 rooms down. After that, once the bookstore actually goes to where it's supposed to be, this is actually my computer lab right next door here, so we'll have the computer lab so I can be in the room. In New Richmond, if you have a laptop, if you can bring that, that would be great. Otherwise, you'll have to run to the LRC, and I'll just be in the classroom here so you can come back and ask me questions until 5:20 when we're done. If you have your own computer you want to use, that's great. Our wireless connection can sometimes be a little slower, but whatever you're comfortable with. You can use your own or you can use ours. It doesn't matter. The one thing I will warn you, if you're using an iPad, there have occasionally been some issues with MyMathLab and iPads, where some people have done their homework or quizzes on iPads. They've done the whole thing. It shows they did the whole thing. They submit it, and for some reason, it doesn't show up that they did it in the system. So I don't know what the problem is, but I'll just give you that warning. Any other questions? There are 4 tests in the whole class. There is also a final exam. The final exam is cumulative, but it is not punitive. So the final exam is to evaluate the course, not the student. If you happen to do amazingly well on the final exam, it can improve your grade. If your score on the final exam is better than your average score for the course, it will improve your grade, but it will not hurt you. We do the final exam to decide if the class is doing what it needs to do. At the end of the class, if you're where you need to be. Okay, well, with that, I'll let you guys get out of here. We will see you on Thursday. Like I said, the computer lab down the hall here is open. I will be here till 5:30. Hopefully it won't be more than the end of next week before I have my computer lab next door here. You too.